2 years ago, the fascist-packed, illegitimate Supreme Court ripped abortion rights away from women. Every day since, women are being forced to have children they did not want or to carry pregnancies that put their very lives in danger. The fury of women and all those who care about justice is simmering across this country, and hardly a day goes by when the Democratic Party doesn't try to pimp off this anger by telling you that if you really care about abortion rights, if you really care about women, you have no choice but to vote for the Democrats. Well, what is the actual track record of these Democrats when it comes to abortion rights? Here are 10 ways the Democrats have repeatedly stabbed women in the back when it comes to abortion rights. 1. The Democrats have ceded the moral high ground to Christian fascist haters of women, and they've done this for decades. Starting in 1992, Bill and Hillary Clinton insisted that abortion should be safe, legal, and rare.
Our vision should be of an America where abortion is safe and legal, but rare.
Going back really at least 15 years, in talking about abortion being safe, legal, and rare. And by rare, I mean rare.
They even wrote rare into the Democratic Party platform. But why rare? This implies that there's something morally wrong with abortion. There is not. It is a great thing for women to be able to decide for themselves when and whether to have a child. Women need abortion on demand and without apology. 2. The Democrats have approved the Hyde Amendment every year since 1977. The Hyde Amendment cut Medicaid funding so that poor women could no longer afford safe, legal abortions. Just months after it passed, Rosie Jimenez became the first woman known to have died from a cheap, illegal abortion because of Hyde. She left behind a 4-year-old daughter. Others have died, and millions of women have been forced to have children against their will with all the extra degradation that brings when you are already in poverty. After years of pressure, when he was running for president, Biden finally promised that he would be the one to repeal Hyde. But that was a lie. He, just like Democratic presidents Jimmy Carter, Bill Clinton, and Barack Obama, has approved Hyde every single year as president. 3. Obama went out of his way to build the Hyde Amendment restrictions into his much-celebrated Affordable Care Act.
And one more misunderstanding I want to clear up. Under our plan, no federal dollars will be used to fund abortions, and federal conscience laws will remain in place. Now,
on top of that, Obama gave states the option to ban any health care plan that covers abortion, even with their own private funds, which half the states in this country immediately did. 4. When Christian fascists started demonizing, stalking, and assassinating abortion providers, the Democratic Party distanced themselves from these providers. One example among many, for years, the anti-abortion fascists targeted the heroic abortion doctor, Dr. George Tiller. They put out his home address. They published wanted posters. They demonized him in fascist media.
No, it's Tiller the killer is Tiller the baby killer.
Tiller the baby killer out in Kansas, acquitted today of murdering babies.
The notorious Tiller the baby killer case, where Dr. George Tiller destroys fetuses for just about any reason right up until the birth date for $5,000.
In 1993, Tiller survived an assassination attempt when he was shot in both arms. And then, in 2009, Tiller was assassinated while he served as an usher in his church.
It was a single bullet that killed the doctor who for 36 years weathered massive protests, bombs at his clinic, and in 1993, gunshot wounds. But he defiantly held his ground.
What I am doing is legal, what I'm doing is moral, what I'm doing is ethical, and you're not going to run me out of town.
Nearly 1,000 people showed up to his funeral from all across the country. This man was so beloved. He was such a courageous hero. I went. Not a single Democratic politician showed up. 5. The Democrats constantly focus their criticism of abortion bans on the most extreme cases. Oh, they say there's no exception for rape. Oh, there's no exception for the life of the woman. Yes, These things reveal just how fascist and woman-hating the anti-abortion movement is. But by consistently refusing to speak up for the millions and millions of women who get abortions just because they don't want to be mothers at that particular time in their lives, this line of defense sets people up to accept ever more extreme abortion bans, so long as there are a few exceptions. It is completely defensive. And this is exactly what has happened all the way up to abortion being overturned. 6. The Democrats refuse to take on the Christian fascists straight up. Instead, they repeatedly seek common ground with these fanatical haters of women. Back in 2009, for example, Obama made a point of inviting Rick Warren to give the convocation at his first inauguration. Who's Rick Warren? Here's how I put it in an article at the time. Quote, Warren unapologetically demands the subordination of women, that is half of humanity, to men. His church's website quotes 1 Corinthians, the head of every man is Christ, and the head of the woman is man. But that's not all. Rick Warren actually compares abortion to the Jewish Holocaust. The fact that anyone can morally equate women who choose abortion with Nazis is astounding. But the fact that pro-choice and progressive people can advocate common ground with this is deadly self-delusion. 7. In their pursuit of common ground, the Democrats have repeatedly run anti-abortion candidates. They've even bragged about this as some kind of brilliant election strategy. 8. The Democrats repeatedly break their promises to stand up for abortion rights. When he was running for president the first time, Obama promised that the very first thing he would do, if elected, is to codify abortion rights. That is, pass a law that would protect abortion rights even if the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade.
Well, the first thing I'd do as president is sign the Freedom of Choice Act. That's the first thing that I'd do.
Once he got elected?
The Freedom of Choice Act is not my highest legislative priority.
9. The Democrats capitulated in advance. They gave up without a fight when the Supreme Court was clearly on track to overturn abortion rights in 2022. We caught them on video. The fact that there was absolutely no fight being waged to stop the overturning of Roe v. Wade is why I joined with others to initiate and lead Rise Up for Abortion Rights. We sounded the alarm. We spoke out and did nonviolent civil disobedience. We went to jail. We mobilized tens of thousands of furious women and others to flood the streets.
This decision must not stand! This decision must not stand! Legal abortion and on demand! Legal abortion on demand! This decision must not stand!
Meanwhile, what did the so-called leaders of the so-called movement, who are so slavishly tied to the Democrats, do? Many of them attacked us as alarmists and spread lies and slanders against me and against the revolutionary leader Bob Avakian, who is providing extraordinary leadership and clarity. These haters did this to derail this mass struggle and keep people from looking deeper at the nature of this system and the need for revolution. 10. The Democrats have spent decades refusing to even use the word abortion. Instead of talking about the right to abortion, they talked about the right to choose. They're not for abortion, they insist. They're just pro-choice.
I am pro-choice. I believe in Roe versus Wade, and I come to that conclusion not because I'm pro-abortion, but because ultimately I don't think women make these decisions casually.
And they've come up with a million other ways to tiptoe around the word.
Women's ability to get basic health care, our right to make the most deeply personal decisions, is facing the most significant threats in recent memory.
In my right to choose, I have 5 children in 6 years and 1 week. It's none of our business how other people choose the size and timing of their families.
Joe Biden, who personally opposes abortion, used the word only one time in the first 1,253 days of being president. Then he finally uttered the word during his disastrous debate last week with Trump, and he used it negatively.
But we are not for late-term abortion, period. Don't
they say that the definition of insanity is repeating the same thing over and over and expecting different results? Don't be insane. Stop voting for these Democrats thinking it is going to protect abortion rights and stop this vicious war on women. These Democrats will never fight the Christian fascists the way they need to be fought. They won't do this because while they have very profound differences with these fascists, they are loyal to the same system of capitalism imperialism that has given rise to these fascists, a system that has the patriarchal oppression of women built into it. And, as Bob Avakian has pointed out, quote, the Democrats, whether or not they are personally religious, and specifically Christian, base themselves on the conviction that religion, and in particular Christianity, is necessary in order to hold together their system of capitalism imperialism, which is full of cruelly exploitative and oppressive relations and divisions that could tear the country apart if religion did not play a major role in holding it together in the face of this terrible exploitation and oppression and the brutality and murder that enforces it. End quote. Break out of this system's choices. Stand up and speak and fight for the truth that these Democrats will never say or fight for. Forced motherhood is female enslavement. Women need abortion on demand and without apology. And right now, when the rights of women and others are being ripped away by the day, with even greater horrors in the offing, learn about and join the fight for a real revolution to overthrow this system that both the Democrats and these fascist Republicans represent. Go to @BobAvakianOfficial to learn more and connect with the RevCom Corps for the emancipation of humanity at revcom.us. Break the chains. Unleash the fury of women as a mighty force for revolution.